Yes.
Let's call to order here.
Yeah, make the print. On this.
Can we start with a roll call? Let's go ahead, Larry, since you're.
My name's Larry. I'm a new DJ at
We'll do introduction in a second.
Okay.
Just real quick. Just
Here.
Marilyn Ferguson here.
Bill Prouse here. Patrick Wendland here.
Raymond Fraker here.
Great, thank you. Now, next up is announcements. Introduction to our new radio board members, Larry Hanson and Raymond Fraker or Fracker? Fraker. Start with you, Larry. Go ahead and do a little introduction of yourself. And actually, all of us will do an introduction as well, so you guys all know.
Great. Cool. Yeah, my name's Larry Hanson. I am a new DJ at KOSW as Larry the Lion, and my first show is shore gazing, kind of like easy listening music to help us relax after our long work days. And I'm new to the area. Me and my wife moved here about 2 months ago, and we've been just kind of hitting the ground running, really loving the local community here and trying to be active members of the community. And I've always had a real passion for music, and radio has always been something I've been very intrigued by. So I wanted to put my best foot forward and be a part of your guys' team.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Go ahead, Raymond.
I'm Raymond Fraker. I work with the local wrestling outfit out of Aberdeen, Rogue Wrestling Attractions. So if you see me in a top hat and a tuck shirt, please do not use the last name. I'm going for first name celebrity status. We've been weekenders for about 25 years and moved out here about 3 years ago. I got let go right after we moved out here and got kind of burnt out on corporate IT. I have a degree in computer and information system security, and most of my experience is in tech support and that sort of stuff, troubleshooting. So I'm actually trained to be extremely paranoid and look for issues, which can be very handy. Other than that, my wife and I live over by the airport, and I've always liked radio and music, and it just seemed like an opportunity between careers to try something new.
Great. Thank you, sir. I guess I'll go. My name is Patrick Wendland. I've been here about in town a little over 3 years myself. Started with the radio board about 1.5 years ago. And after about 4 months, you're like, give the new guy the chairman position. So here I am. Actually, it's fine. And I finally just started a radio show maybe 5 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago. I'm really glad I did. I think it's a good idea to have some board members getting their hands and getting to their inner workings of the radio. So, but yeah, I'm here to be a good steward and keep things non-political and just kind of, trying to save the city some money. And as we'll talk about some tower projects, some other stuff as well. And our budget's less than it was, and keep going in that direction. So that's really all I have myself. Daryl?
Well, I'm Daryl Prouse. I started in TV. I went to Elma High School and started in TV. When I was a senior in high school, we had a small camera and we started doing basketball games. I absolutely loved it. And I decided that's the career I want to do. And I took radio broadcasting at Grace Harbor College, went to Washington State where I took broadcasting, and I worked in, first job was in Flagstaff, Arizona, where I was a TV time salesman, then came back to Olympia where I worked at KITN, KITI, and Centralia Chehalis, and the KMAS in Shelton, KBKW in Aberdeen. Oh, the first radio job I got was at KDUX in Ocean Shores. When I was right out of high school doing play-by-play, helping the guy do play-by-play sports. I was I was right out of high school, and that's why I'm kind of adamant about getting high school kids to do stuff, because I'm helping out with the continuing technical education at North Beach High School. We have invited kids to come and be on the radio and on the TV side. So I worked at those places. Then I went to KNDU in Tri-Cities, worked there for about 7 years as a board operator, which now has been replaced by the computer that we've got at North Beach TV. Came back to the University of Washington where I worked in the instructional media stuff, where I got because I was staff, I was able to get my master's degree really cheap, like $70. So you can't beat that. And I was able to check off being at work and going to school at the same time. So let me think about that. So I did that. Got invited to work at the Goodwill Games. And I didn't even have to apply, and I got invited to work at the Olympics. So I did that as a videotape operator and replay producer. Then went on to the Boeing Company after I left the UW and stayed there for 35 years, starting as an online videotape editor, then winding up as the senior video producer for the company, and then retired and came to Ocean Shores, where I started to volunteer at KOSW. We had a radio show for about what, 3 years, 4 years.
How about that?
And then I got, just before COVID, right around that same time, I started to volunteer for North Beach TV, where I'm still doing volunteer stuff there. So that's my my life in a handbasket.
And I'm Marilyn Ferguson, and I've been on the board going on 2 years or something like that. And I moved here 10 years ago from the Denver area and went to college at Willamette University in Salem and graduated with a BA degree in English Lit. And I worked for radiology imaging for 20 years, advanced interventional coder. And before that, Sears for 26 years. And other than that, I don't know anything about anything.
Thanks, Marilyn. All right, next up, approval of the meeting agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the meeting agenda as it's printed here?
I'll move to approve the meeting agenda as printed.
All in favor? Okay.
Yeah. We have to second, I'll second.
Favor, okay.
Oh, you have to get a second.
Marilyn seconded.
Oh, I thought he did right for each, right? So approval is done. Public communication, 3 minutes. Radio board is providing opportunities for public comments. So you can submit written comments if you like, but we'll do public communication towards the end of the meeting as well. So we'll start with anybody in the room. Does anybody have a public comment at this point? No one in the room? Online, anybody? I'll start G, or G, do you have a comment right now or later? Gina, it says G.
Yes,
so-
please.
Go ahead.
I had announced last week that there would be or last month, that there would be a suicide prevention class. And unbeknownst to me, one of the canceled it. And so there won't be one going on.
Okay. Thank you. Don, do you have anything?
Nothing at all today. Thank you. Good morning.
Thanks. And Marty, I know you're on the phone. I don't know if you have a public comment, but we certainly have you up on deck for the old biz. Okay. Next is reports. We'll start with the chair report, which is myself. Just some other comments on who we are and stuff I have to fill in. I am a Coug as well. Like Daryl, he's in radio broadcasting and worked in some TV stations, still can, and Metro Oregon and some other places that I'd rather not remember. But really, I'm just glad we have some, we've fulfilled the board positions. That's great. I know we had a live production earlier with Mike and Lon, which is with City Market. I know there's only one more week of that going up. So hopefully there'll be some other stuff we can find out later this fall. But I really don't have anything to comment on. I know we'll be talking about the tower with Marty, so I'm looking forward to that and some other stuff. So really, I don't have anything else. Station report, Marty, do you have anything besides the tower you want to go through?
Wait, Butch and I are next.
Oh, I just grouped. I'm so right. My bad. Yeah, station report presented by Trey and Butch, please. Thank you. My apologies.
You actually don't have that much. I guess the two things that I would say is, one, football's in full swing. I'm doing the play-by-play because I put it out over the email.
Good job,
list, and nobody else volunteered. So I'm doing it, but we also have a new volunteer. His name is John Milan. He has a son who's on the team, though he's never played organized football before. And John told me if he gets in for more than like 5 plays on the season, that would be good. But, you know, the broadcasts have gone really well. And I do want to do a shout out here officially to Michelle and Shipwreck Greg. They've handled the board excellently. And also Butch. Butch Butch has come in, sometimes if somebody doesn't want to stay long enough, he will remotely switch the list back, but.
I'm lazy, I do it from home.
But, the Hikes 1 and 2, we've got a game, this week in Tohola.
What day?
Friday. I actually went to Tohola on Sunday afternoon because there was a question, according to the Verizon coverage map. Tohola is not really in the coverage area, so there was concern that we'd get there, we'd get all set up, and then we wouldn't be able to get a signal out. And I took our Comrex and I drove right up to the field. And I put the Comrex and the Wi-Fi on my hood of my car. And when I turned on the jetpack, said searching for service. I thought, oh crap, this isn't gonna work. But I went ahead, tried to set up the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi came right on, plugged in the Comrex, put on the headphones, dialed the station right in.
And how many bars did you tell? Did you get a pretty good signal?
No, it was very strong signal. I was hearing the radio station like I was sitting in the studio.
Great.
So that appears that that's gonna work. The only other thing I have to report is that we're getting to the end of the quarter, which means that it's going to be now time for me to do my lovely reports.
Thank you.
Take 10 to 12 hours.
What you got?
Well, currently we are in search for a good webmaster. Okay. Brewster has been our wheel, but he's so busy, he really doesn't have time to do it. And we've been having troubles with the website. I don't know if you notice it keeps going down when we bring it up. Now we're having trouble with the song title staying on, although it streams, but the song title doesn't always correspond with what's playing, right? Most of this is due to we don't have anybody doing the daily maintenance on the website. That's kind of above my pay grade. I mean, I do all the cosmetics on it and all that. I can do all that stuff, but when you get the internal part of it, that's somebody that knows what the hell they're doing to do it, right?
Well, the coding. is what
Coding,
You're talking about.
yeah.
The coding part.
And it gets upgrades all the time. It needs to be updated and all kinds of things. And so currently we're trying to find somebody that's capable and
Well-
don't cost an arm and a leg.
If it's just maintenance, is there some?
Well, all right.
to do it?
To be more specific, we've been having problems with attacks. People-
Attacks?
Yes, people try and, all right, this is according to, all right, Host Papa is our hosting source. And, Brewster's filled out some tickets with them. And they say there's point of attacks and people trying to get in through the administrative panel to take control of the website. And they have suggested a bunch of different strategies. Some of them have to do with coding that is put into the main page. I mean, I understand part of it, but I have no idea where you put it. And then they've also suggested like a choice of one of 2 or 3 different programs to more securely guard the administrative backend. And frankly, that's above Butch's, my pay grade.
We've even thought about maybe changing to GoDaddy or something and get away from Host Papa. We don't know. We're still looking at it.
I mean, Host Papa hasn't been a bad company, but you can't call them up.
Yeah.
Everything has to be done by email. They're out of Canada. I don't know, 2 years ago, the board approved, I think they made the decision, we were gonna go to GoDaddy, but for some reason that was never implemented. So I don't know, but we've been having a lot of issues in that, like, I'll get calls, Butch gets calls. The DJ's going, our streaming's down again. And we can go in and we have a process where we go in and reset the server. And that seems to fix it temporarily, but then it goes down again. And one of the things Host Papa said is that we needed to increase our bandwidth. And so our nonprofit arm, North Beach Independent Media, paid an extra $827 to get us a larger bandwidth. And yet the problems continue.
It's actually worse
That
now.
would have been a bandwidth problem.
Well, they were saying that we had a lot of stuff on our website. There's a lot
Yeah.
of,
Yeah, but that wouldn't, if it's the attacks have nothing to do with the bandwidth.
Well, I know, there seem to be two interlocking problems, and so it wasn't just that Butch and I took this, because they could say, you know, the moon was made out of cheese, and we'd go, okay.
Yeah,
We actually ran it through Damon. And he said, yeah, he said, I think that's.
Damon's the IT guy for the city, right?
yeah. Oh, no, that's Brewster.
I know, we said Damon. I just want to make sure everybody knows who Damon is.
Yeah, but Damon's not with the city.
No, I know.
DJ.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, he goes on, his handle is Brewster, but his real name is Damon.
Gotcha. All right, thank you.
So, but he works in IT, so we run all these things through him to make sure that they're not just feeding us a line. But he looked at it and he said, yeah, I think that would be a worthwhile thing, so the nonprofit went ahead and paid for, additional bandwidth is the word I use, maybe that's not actually the technical term, but anyway, the problem has persisted, and so we have a bunch of recommendations they have given to us, but we need someone who has some IT abilities to implement them, because Butch and I wouldn't know where to start.
May I suggest Northwest Web Designers? They're here in Ocean Shores, and that's what they do, and they're right next to the travel agency by the roundabout in the barber.
Oh, by the barber shop there?
He's got a retail space.
Is it behind them or?
It's inside with where the travel agency is at in the back room. So he's just got a little desk and chair, but yeah, that's what he does is web design. So you might want to.
Well, our web's designed, we just need help with the technical aspects.
It could be easier, but that's what he does.
with the maintenance.
Yeah, we need somebody to maintain our site for us.
That's a
He
good-
might do that too.
I mean, love doing all the cosmetics on it. That's a lot of fun.
No, you're doing content.
Content, whatever you want to call it. Get inside of it, I'm done.
I do think that we could use a little bit of an update modernization with the layout of the website too, because I know that, you know, if you look on a different device, whether it be a phone, tablet, or laptop, you're gonna get a different kind of look and feel for the website. But I think that we can do better to kind of universalize those different experiences, because like, for example, if I look on my cell phone, a lot of the text links and stuff are like black and they blend in with the black background. You can't see a lot of the text on the website that's important text, things like that. You know, nothing super, super dramatic, but I do think that we could, you know, maybe simplify, maybe make it a little bit more sleek and modern too. So it's easier to navigate for people that are on their phones or on their different devices.
Well, that's true, because we have had comments before that some things seem to work if you're using like an Android or PC. If you're using Apple, then people say that things there don't seem to be, like you said, the layout seems to be different.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it would be pretty easy to, like I said, kind of consolidate those different experiences. I think the best thing to do nowadays is to start your like website. If you're going to do a makeover on your website or whatever, you should start with the mobile phone version, because that's the version that everybody's be looking at the most nowadays. We're past the age.
In the past, it was desktop first now.
Yeah, exactly. Now
Same
it's
way
the other
my
way
job's
around,
all-
you know, and of course you want to make sure that the desktop version is optimized too, but really, I mean,
All the time.
90% of your traffic is gonna be from mobile phones, tablets, things like that, so.
Yep.
So you're saying a new, I guess, should we look at getting a webmaster? I mean, maybe the guy's local in town. I guess what would be the action to do out of this?
Need something.
Okay, so what would be maybe get a price or whether to take, to have them look it
I don't know
over?
how much these guys charge.
Sure.
Should find out.
Sounds like there's a lot of different options of ways we can go with it.
All I know is when you get on the phones, Androids and iPhones are totally different.
Yeah, for sure.
Most Androids will look the same, most iPhones look the same, but they're totally different from each other. They don't look the same.
Yeah, for sure, but it's just like important things like being able to see the
Yeah.
text, to click the links and stuff, because if it blends in, it's the same color as the background as the text.
Yeah.
You have to like kind of highlight things to see it.
Absolutely.
And that's, you know, a lot of people might not be as tech savvy to know to do that, and then they're not sure what they're looking at. with
Right.
certain pages. That's just my take on it.
Cause I know we have money in the budget, and next meeting, we'll be doing another quarterly budget review and really to see, to make sure the money's there, but if you want to reach out to the guys in town and see, hey, what would it cost to take over our site, redo whatever? We have some new numbers maybe next meeting. That'd be something, okay, for you guys to take on?
I have to. Unless we just wanna keep the
Well,
same.
I know we have to, I just didn't know who, I figured it'd be you.
Well, it's gonna be me or Trey, one of the two, so. Yeah,
You reach out, I think like Daryl's saying, the guy local in town, probably a good place to start. Unless you know someone.
I don't know anybody. I get emails all the time from people, but I have no idea where they're at or who they
I'd
are.
rather someone I can look in the face and say,
Yeah.
you know, hold their feet to
I
the
mean-
table there.
Of
And-
course, there is one at least concern with that. When I started at the radio station 12 years ago, they had a webmaster here in town that they paid to do the site, and then they got into some type of an argument, and the radio station got locked out of the website. Couldn't seem, I mean, they lost their ability to do email. They lost their ability to control the site because,
That's unethical.
well, it is unethical, but people.
You gotta be careful who you work with. on
Well,
that.
right, but my point is that when I was moving from South Bend to here, and I saw that, oh, Ocean Shores had a volunteer radio station, and I thought, great, I got a degree in journalism and blah, 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 so I thought this would be great. So I go up, I see who, is on the board, the contact emails, so I send an email, hey, we're gonna be moving there in about 2 months, and I'd like to get involved. And then a week went by, no response. Another week went by, no response. And I thought, it said right on the front of the thing that we desperately need volunteers. Here you have somebody saying, I'll volunteer, and no response. So I sent a second email. Waited another week or two, no response. So at this point, I went and I looked at who the people were on the board, and somehow I found like the board chair, and I emailed that person. The person responded, they hadn't been board chair for 2 years. They weren't even on the board at all anymore, and that they were locked out of the website. So when I finally got up here and I finally started getting involved, the first thing I did is I went and I got their email, and it turns out they had not checked their info email for 2.5 years, and the box was full and here, while on their website, they said they desperately need volunteers. At least 20 of those emails were people offering to volunteer, and yet they never talked to one of them because they couldn't see those messages. So that's my only concern, is that we make sure we get somebody we feel we can really trust, and probably maybe through the city, getting some type of a legal contract, because they didn't do it that way with a legal contract. And when the guy got mad, he just took all the passwords with him.
So we can move this to like an agenda item for next meeting too. I mean, so we'll have more
yeah,
focus.
this is the third website since I've been there. First one was the one that you were talking about, that you couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
It was just a terrible website. So we went and got a new one. And that got hacked so bad that it locked everybody out of it, couldn't do anything with it. Remember that? That was so, then we had Brewster, we hired a guy, I'm not gonna mention any names. We hired a guy to build us a new website. He did 3/4 of it and quit. Okay, so there we were with 3/4 of a website, couldn't finish it. So finally Brewster came in and he finished it for us. And that's what we have today. Okay. So I love the website. I just want it to work better than it does. I mean, we got tons of information on that website, but it is,
But Larry is right that
yeah,
it needs to be something that can grow through the various devices that people are connected.
yeah. No one's complaining about your PC. Everybody's complaining about their phones because they're different. iPhones are different than their Android phones.
And there's always gonna be some variants, some variations between the different devices. You can't like make them completely homogenized, but you can get really, really close. It's just about how you start and about how you tackle it. And I think the best way would be to, be very keenly aware of maybe have an Android or an iPhone, or maybe a way to emulate both of those on a desktop. They have emulators for those kind of things where you can kind of get a feel for what it will look like for somebody using those devices. And that might make it a little bit easier to get.
And when you do talk to the guy, I wouldn't give out how much we're paying right now. Have him give the price first.
I don't even know what we pay right now. That's
All right, good.
treasurer's ideal.
That'd be great. They can bring some prices to the next meeting and we'll, certainly review the budget too and see if it fits and let me know. We can put it on the agenda.
Also, I want to thank all the volunteers that helped us out. We raised $4,000 for the Ocean Shores Food Bank here on the 10th. It was a great day. It was a long day. It was 8 hours long. Well, more like 10 or 12 hours, need all the setup and tear down time. But had some great performance there, great turnout. I thought at first, the first couple hours, this is gonna be a dud. There was hardly anybody there, but then that afternoon came out, it just spiked up. There was all kinds it was great. They raised about $4,000 for the food bank. And then just because you keep asking me about our MOU with North Beach Independent Media in the city. And that's still going on. We're got a meeting with the mayor on Thursday to talk more about it. So it's pretty much my report.
All righty. Thank you, sir. Marty, I don't know if you have anything on the technology report side besides the tower, because we'll talk about that in the business. Do you have anything outside of the tower you want to add, Marty?
He's muted.
He's muted. He's probably away from it, realizing he's getting his coffee or something. I'll assume that he's fine until the old business. It's coming up soon. So no technology report from CSW going for Marty Hatfield. Council liaison report with Council Member Richard Willis.
So for the new board.
Marty.
Sorry, one second. Marty, have anything you want to add to that report besides the tower?
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I had control of the mute function on this end. So yeah, if you have a moment, I'll dump in a couple items on the tech report.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Let's see. First of all, FCC is advancing technologies in the 6G cellular world, a new generation that's coming forward. They've encouraged manufacturers to exploit the new bands that are available. They're also accelerating, just recently had a release. They didn't state what the acceleration specifically was that I read, but on next generation TV, what's called ATS 3.0, televisions are going to be coming with more over-the-air opportunities for program delivery. Oddly enough, or the way it is, the Sinclair Broadcasting Group seems to be leading the way in adopting the ATSC 3.0. And basically in digital television, it's additional streams that are available for all sorts of uses, including channel guides for everything that's in your market. It'll help your TV tune into stations. So there's lots of activity that's starting to really percolate there. There's a new Wi-Fi band for next generation Wi-Fi, which is in the 6 gigahertz range. Right now, most of the Wi-Fi opportunities are in the 2 gig and 5 gig range. And now they're opening up additional bandwidth in the 6 gig range with what are called smart systems that actually monitor a channel to make sure it's not in use, and then it opens up that channel and starts using it. And it just avoids collisions and gives a much broader bandwidth ahead, including up into the terahertz, which are 1,000 gigahertz, which is approaching light. There's some new activities going on in that area. Also, the FCC is seeking a repayment from an unnamed company that overbilled the FCC during the COVID period. And apparently the FCC had a program to help underwrite some of the costs of operation during COVID. And these guys billed the FCC for $1.18 million over what they were supposed to be, I guess. And one other thing, their continued warning on, securing your internet systems to avoid hackers, and that's a serious ongoing deal. And then one last item is, as Trey had mentioned in his report on activities that he's involved with, were his quarterly reports. The quarterly report on issues and programs is due, and what Trey does there is he fills out a report that details, and that's what I believe he mentioned is about a 10-hour process. Reviews the logs of all of the public service programming and other special programs that the station carries. And then he puts those into a particular format. And then I usually take those and upload them to the FCC public file that's online for the radio station. So that'll be coming up. We have a must be on file by approximately the 9th of October. So Trey's been really good about it, and sometime in a few days before the 9th, he'll get that out to me, I'm sure. That's it for item 6 tech report. Is there any questions?
Thanks, Marty.
Sure.
Questions, Marty, on this stuff?
Although he's incorrect, that report only takes about an hour.
Only takes an hour there, Marty.
It's the sound exchange report that takes so long.
All right, we'll talk to you soon here on the old business. All right.
Right on,
apologies,
thank you.
Mr. Wills, back to you. for council.
So for those new board members, I'm Richard Wills, I'm the city liaison. And I have nothing from the city liaison, but on your web page posting, I've been using bluehost.com for probably close to 15 or 20 years. And one of the things I love about them is I can call them on the telephone and get a live person who can answer my questions. And when I check between them and GoDaddy, I stuck with Bluehost. So just put that in your peace pipe and smoke it.
BLUE. BLUE host.
BLUHOST is.
So there's no E's.
No, it's host.
Bluehost.com. So other than that, I have nothing. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We'll see you tonight. Financial report for review. There's a link on the agenda, just so you new board members know. You click on that link, then it'll come bring you to the website of the city. They used to give us financials on every meeting. It was nice. You go to have everything right there. But a few months ago, they said, you got to do it on your own. So that's why we don't have the financials. But as I mentioned, I took a quick peek and looked fine. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary, but we're going to do a quarterly report. It'll be on the agenda. I'll go through it all and provide pages to everything. So, but if anybody else has anything, they took a look at the ad right now, please bring it up. But if not, we'll move on and we'll talk about it next meeting. We'll may hopefully leave some money there for some new web hosting. So, all right, board member report. Oh, they got Daryl on here first. Daryl, you're up.
Couple of things where North Beach TV is simulcasting, taking the audio feed for the football games and using that as the play-by-play for on the TV side. And it worked out real well. We gave Trey and his team a monitor so they could see what was going on in instant replays, and it worked out real nice when they announced it on the radio. Here comes a replay. They could talk about some of the football plays. So it's fun. We got
Home games? That's just home games?
Yeah, we don't have the ability like you do to get our signal out from anywhere. We have to use someone's, we're using the school's internet access to get out from the stadium. So the only way we can get out, we don't have the money yet to get Starlink or something else, a jetpack type device to send.
Well, but if you do it from the school, couldn't you just talk to each school?
But could possibly.
But I thought the question for you, it wasn't so much that, it was manpower.
Volunteers too. So number one is that we can't do it. Number two, we don't have enough people to do it, you know? So even if we get the permission that we may do it, we still cannot. On October 8th, I've got a meeting at North Beach High School, the continuing technical education stuff. And that's a 6:30 meeting that goes on for a couple hours, and I'll be going there representing both the TV side and the radio side. And Butch can come along too if he wants.
That's October 8th at the high school?
High school, yeah.
What time?
I've got it at 6:30.
What day?
Wednesday. It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah.
Yeah, because Monday he'd be on the air.
Yeah, well, I started going to those deals, but they didn't have no category for me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so I said, screw it, I ain't coming in here. I'll go in with you if you wanna team up with the radio and the TV side, I'll do that.
Yeah, they talked about, they lost their culinary arts professor or teacher, and they got someone new coming in and a new, art person, and they also lost their video production person, so. They're always going through a lot of turnover in the.
They had their job fair.
I don't know, I think they're going to, yeah. And that's all I've got.
If I can, let me jump back to Trey. It's with an E, blue with an E host.
Okay.
Okay, next up is Marilyn.
I don't have anything.
For myself, I really don't have anything else to add than the board report, really. Let's just kind of move on. So this is where we each kind of talk about maybe really whatever you want for the most part and kind of add to the discussion. So what's next on my list here? It would be Larry. You have anything to?
Nothing to add
No
today.
problem.
Been here an hour.
Yeah.
Right, I should have the answer to everything.
Actually.
Taking over.
Maybe next week, or next meeting, I mean.
Sure, you have anything you want to put?
Just, smart aleck comments that I whispered to myself.
Okay.
But now,
Meeting might want to probably wait. Thanks, Brandon. Old business. So, first up is the new tower, and we're gonna have Marty talk about this. So just to bring you guys up to speed, we, recently, well, not recently, it was about almost 2 years ago, I guess, we switched towers to up on the hill, up on Capellas Creek. And we paid quite a bit. I believe it's a 5-year lease we signed on it.
Yep.
And it's like $3,200 a month at least we pay on that.
33, I think you did.
33, yeah. Again, if we had the financial things, we'd have it right in front of us. But we'll go over that next month. But it's a lot. It's basically, because it's like 36 plus, almost 38,000 a year we pay for that. And so our, just a second, Marty. And so Marty, he's been, Marty he was on our board anymore, but he's very viable to us. His career is with, working with FCC and towers and things. He still does that consulting and such as well. So he's a great resource we have. And he's currently, we're looking at moving the tower to the one at the IGA. That's an old Quest building. It's on top of the Quest building. It's still their building. That's where all the copper comes. It's the central office. And so he's been talking to them about maybe we can get a lease on that tower and how much it'll be a month. So just remember, we're paying 33 or so a month. And these numbers he's talking about quite a bit different. So, and we go ahead, Marty, what, do you have any updates since last, 2 months since we talked to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. And just as a quick recap, yes, we actually filed an application with the FCC so that we could determine whether or not the tower site we'll just call it the tower site at the IGA, technically it's CenturyLink property, that it would be acceptable to the FCC. And lo and behold, on August 29th, they granted a construction permit for us to relocate KOSW's transmitter from up north on the town, about 6 miles or so, back into physically in the city. And there's a distinct strategy here because we do have that significant overhead of the existing lease. The lease that we're talking about at the CenturyLink tower is far, far lower, as kind of mentioned by Patrick. Down in the neighborhood, likely, we don't have it in concrete yet, but probably in the neighborhood of about $500 a month, and much more manageable and easier to get to, and all of the other benefit factors that would come along. That's just our talking price right now. We don't know what they're going to ultimately come up with. We do have several years left on the existing lease, because it is a 5-year lease, and I believe we have 3 years left on it. So the interesting thing about this construction permit that we received is the FCC issues 3-year construction permits. So you have time to go through zoning and construction and all of that. So we have until August 29th, 2028 to actually perfect this construction permit. Now, there's no harm, no foul if it doesn't get built. It becomes a placeholder that if anybody else wants to move stations around, not even necessarily in the Aberdeen-Hoquiam area, but some more distant stations, they have to account for protecting that construction permit, as well as the existing licensed facility. So it buys us some protections. It buys us time and an opportunity to seek relocation. What I personally, I think that the board should do, or if you instruct me to, I will gladly talk with Scott Anderson about what the opportunities are within the existing lease with American Tower at the tower site where the station is presently broadcasting from. So the challenge there is I have not seen an exit clause in the lease myself, but it may be buried in some cross-reference that I don't have available. So that's why I would suggest we talk with Scott to see if there's a way that there could be an early termination of the existing lease and a relocation that would move most of the equipment, at least all of the equipment that's inside of our small transmitter building, move the building and all down to Ocean Shores and put it on the air and move forward. So these are a couple of things that I'll leave up to you folks on the board now to determine whether you want to have someone approach Scott or if you would like me to. Whatever works, it'll be fine. Especially if Butch is having a meeting a little bit later this week, that would probably be a good opportunity. I know I've brought the subject up, but I haven't put any pressure on him because we did not have the construction permit in hand. We do now. So beyond that, bringing the transmitter facility back into Ocean Shores proper will improve the coverage in Ocean Shores far, far better than what we presently have, because the FCC rules say we have to cover the city with a certain amount of signal. The advantage of being physically at the city, located at the city for our transmitter, it improves the high level reception area, and then the outer areas that we presently have some extra coverage on, those will become what I always like to term bonus coverage. If we get it, that's great. Still probably be able to pick it up around Seabrook, but when you get down into the lower areas of north of Seabrook, up around Pack Beach, the reception will be probably, well, it will be significantly worse or more difficult to receive than presently because it's so close to where the tower is. So I'm excited about bringing it back into the city on that approach because it'll improve the coverage. It also does one other thing, and that is there's long-term plans with the city and Grays Harbor County and some other agencies in improving the emergency services communications link out in Ocean Shores. And with any luck, this will occur. It takes several years to go, as I mentioned before, to go through SEPA review and a bunch of other things that slow down the tower siting process. But there is an opportunity where the city could build a tower and then have tenants on that tower, along with the city emergency services, KOSW, and then potentially some cellular or something else that might help underwrite the construction of building such a tower in a different location within the city. So it's a little bit of a hopscotch model, but it all makes sense in the big picture of things. And I hope you'll agree. And just let me know when you get an opportunity, which way you'd like to go as far as discussions with Scott. And I think that wraps it for me, but I'm definitely open to questions.
Marty? Hey, Marty?
Yes.
What about the Osprey's nest? When can we get that out of there and keep them from building it and delaying construction?
Yeah. Well, that's probably not going to be a significant obstacle. And the reason I say that is it's a seasonal use of the nest. My understanding is the osprey won't be there with an active youth population, shall we call it, in that particular nest for an extended period of time. What Butch is talking about is, technically speaking, because there is a raptor family living at the top of the tower, which earlier this year, the top of the tower just became very attractive to them, I guess, and they started hauling up pieces of plastic, shrubs, whatever, to build their nest. And there's a prohibition against disturbing such nests. So we just have to wait for them to move off. Once they've moved away, then the nest can be completely disassembled and removed, and then any construction can go on. But the concept is that you don't want to disturb an active location.
That's usually active from spring through summer, but now that they're, because I know the bald eagles have flown from their nests, so I'm just, what I'm trying to say is, I'd like to get that nest out of there before spring comes back up, so they don't rebuild it and nest it and put us back another 6 months.
Well, that's up to the company that
can do that.
Can we send a drone up or something and take a look at it?
I got a drone. I got lasers.
you can actually see the bird's head popping out of the top of the nest area as recent as a week ago when I stopped.
Oh.
I'm over in Eastern Washington now. So it's still an active nest location. So we'll keep an eye on that, but you know, a drone, I'm not sure what the rules are on that, but as long as they don't get right on top of it, I suspect that would probably be okay, just for an inspection purpose. But it's not our responsibility. And it is the responsibility of CenturyLink and the company that represents them at the sales end of the site, which is Vertical Bridge. And they're very cognizant of the rules, and they are very aware that that is holding up, to some extent, the process of being able to move forward. Because we don't want to enter into a contract unless we're clear that we have an exit plan from our present contract.
Right.
And it's able to be developed on a contingent basis for, you know, just like when you're selling your house, you have to, or buying a new house, sometimes you have to sell your old house first. So you just build in a contingency. But one of the contingencies will be the availability of that tower with suitable location that we've identified for the KOSW FM antenna.
So it sounds like the action item we need to do is get with the city manager and find out if there's an exit plan out of the current contract. You suggested either be you guys maybe talk to him Thursday, or he can do it. Which do you prefer?
Well, I have a meeting with Sarah, Scott, and Frank on Thursday.
You want to bring it up then?
I can talk to him on it.
Okay, Marty, we'll have Butch bring it up with the city manager Thursday when he meets with them about the exit plan.
That'd be awesome.
Great, we'll keep you in the loop. Anything else, Marty? Oh,
Yeah.
question.
And if you need me, you can always call me, Butch.
Okay.
And I can drop if you need some color for the meeting. So cool. Okay. With that, I will close my hatch. Thanks, guys.
Would you be available if I calls you up on a speakerphone during the meeting to talk to him?
Probably. What time of day on Thursday?
I think it's 1 o'clock. Anyway.
Yeah, I may be back in town. I hope to be back in town by then. I'm up.
Yeah, it's 1 o'clock.
Okay, 1 p.m. on Thursday.
Anybody else have any
Okay.
questions for Marty?
I've got one comment. I know that Marty's correct, where the owner of the tower, and their representatives are the ones that are required about the tower, and the other one is the Department of Game. So they gotta talk to those guys. They've got charts when you can, it's almost like planting flowers with the state, you know, on this day they plant these flowers no matter what. So on this day you can go and get it. So there'll be a definite day that you could go in and bust up that nest.
I'd like to be able to make it say you can't rebuild it.
What's that, Marty?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, frankly, again, that will be the owner of the tower or their representative contacting the state. It's not something that we get involved with because we're just a tenant or prospective tenant. So, they're dialed into that nationally, and, so they're, you know, they'll take the proper steps because they want to generate some income off of that tower, because there hasn't been any in the 9 years that I've lived out at the beach. There hasn't been any tenant on that tower. So I'm sure they would love to have anybody paying.
Good savings, almost 30,000.
Yep.
It's a lot of money.
Good news. Great. Thanks, Marty.
You
No other
bet.
questions for Marty? Okay. All right, next, pay to pray, little business. This is basically, we're thinking the idea of having some local, churches on Sunday. They like maybe record their sermon and we play it on Sunday morning. Or maybe an hour or two, we have a block there that they would pay. So just for some additional income that comes to the station. We've been talking about this for quite a while this year. And it was off the agenda last month, but it's back on now. Where it was left last, my concern was I don't want to do anything. It's certainly unless we hear some feedback from the city first, you know, get some announcements out that we just don't start doing it. And also I wanted to hear back from the mayor as far as where, you know, hey, he's saying that this council's fine with it. Or, you know, so I was hoping to get an email back and I didn't get that email back. So, I mean, you know, talking to me, he says, you know, the city and the council, they'd probably be fine with it though. So, just curious, Richard, since you're here near the city council, what's your thoughts on having us maybe do, you know, broadcast some sermons on Sunday morning in the local churches?
Understand I am not representing the council. This would be my personal opinion.
Sure.
And it's something I have given some thought to because it's come up at this meeting 2 or 3 times. I think that there's a potential conflict between, it's a city-owned radio station, and there's supposed to be a separation of church and state. Under the current political climate, that separation seems to be blurring. But my personal feelings is I understand it's a potential income source, and I, as a council member, want to see the radio station become more and more self-sufficient. But I think that it's a lawyer question about is there in fact a conflict? And for background, if I, as a political candidate, want to rent this room, I can. But if I use this room free, which is available to almost anybody, then I cannot have a political rally. And so that's an example of there's a lawful separation, and I just don't know enough to know.
Sure.
But
Okay.
Yeah, some people would probably not enjoy a public station airing that. I would be more worried about some more extreme or radical contents on
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
that people wouldn't be happy hearing
Yeah.
from either side of the spectrum, I imagine.
Raymond, I hear exactly what you're saying, and my comment is the 9 years that I've lived in this city, there's always this group and that group. And Mayor Elgin has been trying his best to reduce that separation. And it's a hard road to hoe. So there is always going to be some people, no matter what you do, if the city council decided to give everybody at Ocean Shores a pound gold bar, somebody would complain.
Yeah.
Right. I just
It's a
think when
dead
you
end.
add religion, it ups the ante a bit
Yes.
for many people on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a sticky wicket.
Yeah, and my thought actually lately, since I mean, we did a quarter review, our numbers are looking better on our budget, talking to Marty, geez, that's $30,000 possibly. It's not done yet, but that's $30,000 a year difference. That's shit,
that would go-
that's a lot of our budget. So it's like, do we really need to then? I mean, honestly, I mean, if that's the direction we're going, then why do we need to do this?
Yeah, I don't
That's, I'm just
think-
being honest with you, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't think we should do it. I mean,
Yeah.
it used to be a separation between church and state, but now it's, church has become political. I mean, they're taking one side or the other depending on which church,
Yeah.
and we don't need that. We'll just end up with a big war going on.
I have to agree. I totally have to agree with that.
Daryl, what are your thoughts?
I agree with these guys. I think the separation of church and state is real important. Yeah, and this station has, it's a different duck than anywhere else, probably in the state and certainly maybe even the country. I don't know this.
Yeah.
The city owns the radio station.
Well, it's, no, not in the country. We are the only city-owned radio station in the state of
Yeah, I
Washington.
know that for sure, yeah. And in the country, it's probably a real minority. There probably aren't very many of them.
Yeah, like in Oregon, they have one,
Okay, yeah.
Shady Grove.
Even if it was 20 years ago, I'd say that there probably wouldn't be nearly as much problem, but in today's climate, it just seems like a third rail that we want to stay away from.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting scary divisive with politics and stuff, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
definitely agree, it's definitely better to err on the side of caution, and keep things kind of secular. We don't want to divide people further.
And there's one church in this city that, to me, it just got some real abhorrent views and it's just rubbed me the wrong way. And I would be real hesitant about inviting them to be able to spout their.
Right, and if we let every church,
We gotta let
other
everybody.
churches, we gotta let everybody in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, there's definitely a church in town that I don't want to hear on the radio.
Yeah.
You'd get up early to listen to it anyway, because it'd be early Sunday morning. It isn't like everybody's there listening to it. So,
Bush?
my thoughts, I like the money. I mean, we're trying to be self-sufficient. That, to me, it's the money. When I was director of operations for Snoqualmie Valley School District, we rented our facilities out all the time to churches on Sunday. Now, that's just
It's a different animal.
Yeah.
why. It's still the separation of church and state. You can't pray in schools.
Yeah, but that's still.
Not organized prayer, but you can still pray.
Yeah, you just can't be told that you have to, like, you can have your own personal, it's about like, pushing it on other people, imposing on other people. We're trying to keep things neutral and stuff.
I think it would be easier to do a low-key point counterpoint type of political discussion show at that time than it would be.
Oh, boy. you don't
Keeping
wanna
it,
do
keeping
that.
it secular.
What about against creators?
No, you can keep it secular and civil.
Tried that before. That did not go well. I would like to suggest that we just take this off the agenda.
I would agree.
No,
Yeah.
initially, I have to be honest, I'm an atheist, so I don't really care about churches, but I thought it was important because it's part of the community.
Yeah.
But then, of course, we're city owned, so that creates a bit of an issue, but I agree with several of the comments. It has become so contentious. One of the things we're trying to do is steer a nice, clear middle path. And all this would do would be able to, we would basically be creating controversy out of whole cloth.
So it sounds like the reasoning behind the whole thing was for money.
Yeah.
So I'm agreeing, I'm kind of getting consensus here. I think the majority of the board is kind of against it right now. That's what I'm getting a consensus feeling of. I think my thought is we take it off the agenda, but next week we're gonna be doing a budget review. We'll look at the numbers and get some clear numbers and look and see where we're at and say, hey, okay, are we in a situation we need to do this or not, or just, I don't know, that's.
Yeah, I would
Can do it
disagree
around.
with that analysis. I understand the pressures that we want to make more money. I just don't think it's the right thing to do, whether we make money or not.
I agree.
I just think that the idea when it was originally brought up, it was worthy of some consideration, but based on comments, almost everybody here, we all know how contentious religious has become. And I just think it would open a can of worms that we would then go back and go, God, why did we do this?
You also have the problem that a lot of the smaller churches cannot afford to go on. It's only the big ones that got money that are gonna be on there and they can say whatever they want. And the others are, they're locked out.
It depends on what we charge, I guess.
Yeah, couple $100 or whatever.
And then if we do have, you know, if we did do this, then we'd have to kind of police what they can and can't say.
Yeah, it'd be done. It wouldn't be live, it'd be recorded.
Well, sure, but then there
Well,
would,
that's what I'm saying about
there'd be
the
some
content.
debate about free speech and that's like a really big thing going on with everything going on right now, so.
Okay, remember, this is not a service.
Yeah.
It's not a church service.
Right.
It'd be more like a gospel or something of that.
Right, and some churches' gospels are pretty divisive.
Yeah, for example, just a quick example, when I was living in Texas a few years ago during 2020, I was going to a church and they were advising people to come in without masks and, you know, making it some sort of like religious political martyr thing, even like, you know, calling out the governor of Texas. And I'm like, well, you can't do that because you're putting people's lives in health.
Yeah,
in danger.
Right, and that
It just becomes a slippery slope, you know, you want to avoid that kind of.
doesn't even touch on the third rail of the social issues.
Richard, you had a comment?
So as a city council member, it is not my right arm. So I'm on a slippery slope here if I make a comment. But my comment is whatever you did to generate that $4,000 for the food bank, do that for the radio station.
Well, people come out for a food bank. They probably don't come out for the radio station.
It's just a thought.
Well, let me put it this way. We didn't do too bad,
Yeah.
right? Because we ran the beer garden. And what did we make, about 1,500, something like that off the beer garden,
Well,
1,200?
I think our net was around 1,200.
$1,200 we made.
Still.
Okay,
Hey, that's not bad.
and that's not bad. And that's not counting the $4,000. That's on top of. So they got their $4,000, we got our $1,200, and that's pretty good for a beer garden for one day. So we were not complaining, and if we could do more of these, but you need benefits for food bank, pause, things like that to generate money. People don't come out just for the radio station. We'll have a few, but
Come out for the music and the beer.
they come out for the music and the beer.
And I hear you, and I was, in all honesty, being slightly facetious.
Okay, good.
Raymond, you have a comment?
I mean, if we had music and beer, they wouldn't come out for a pledge drive like they do on PBS?
They might.
Well, they might.
Well, number one, we can't do a pledge drive.
NIMBM
because-
can. Well, we don't want to be a pledge live, but
Yeah,
we
it'd
could
be
do a
different,
benefit.
but the radio station can't do a pledge drive because the radio station doesn't have members per se, because every taxpayer is a member, basically.
In the
See,
different, yeah,
See, this is one thing you're gonna have to learn.
Yeah, I was gonna say. this is-
Yeah, I know,
this is-
Station.
Yeah,
Is the fact that because we're owned by the city, you can't have members. Because it's just, it's a legal can of worms.
we can,
What's a member?
Well, all right, to be a member of an organization, you usually have to pay a membership fee.
Oh,
Then you get membership benefits, but the
Swag.
city can't award membership.
okay, I see what you're
benefits.
saying.
So that's why it is difficult. I mean, this is why we are such a unique animal in this state, is that a lot of things, like you go to these meetings, and all these public and LP stations and, non-commercial stations, they have a bunch of strategies and tools that we can't touch.
Yeah.
That's why we actually founded North Beach Independent Media, to be sort of like the nonprofit arm of the radio station, because NBIM can do things the city radio station cannot.
Right.
radio station can raise money like through underwriting, but they can't fundraise.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a big difference. NIMBM can do anything it really wants to do. And since we are kind of an arm of KOSW, and that's one of the things, this MOU we're trying to get.
Gotta do the booth together, yes.
And
Yeah, that's what I meant, not.
I'll have more information after our meeting on Thursday, how that's going. But the whole idea was that we could raise more income for the station and be able to save that money for the station to help pay for things that the city don't have to pay for. In other words, we're trying to save the taxpayers dollars
Right.
by raising our own money. But we
Right.
can't really raise much through the radio station by itself. But we can through NIMBIM, like this benefit from the food bank. We can do those things through NIMBIM or North Beach Independent Media.
Right.
But we can't do those things through KOSW. We can't. It's a slippery slope, Nicole. I mean, even to try to sponsor something can be a slippery slope. But North Beach Independent Media is totally independent from the city, so it can pretty much do what it wants.
So we could do a fundraiser.
Yeah, North Beach can, and NIMBIM can do fundraisers. In fact, that was one of our first big ones with the food bank. That turned out to be pretty cool. It actually worked out really great. And we're gonna probably do that again next year, but it won't be in September. It'll probably be more like in July or something, a little better weather. And so, but
Anybody else have more comments on the pay to pray? I think what we're gonna do is, it's gonna come off the agenda, and then if anybody, wants to get it back on there, please just reach out to me, anybody, talk to me.
Well, let me tell you one little thing. It was the mayor that wanted us to do this in the first place.
All right, no problem. We'll let them know that it's not there. All right, new business, don't have anything there. Discussion, we can keep this going right now. We're talking about fundraising and stuff. We can talk maybe more fundraising, keep that conversation going.
Well, it'd be nice to have some fun.
Yes.
Again, I'm slipping off my guardrails. But when I made that comment, I didn't envision all of what you brought out, but I'm glad that you brought it out because not all of us, even in this room, understand the restraints that this city-owned radio station has to operate under. And so the better we understand, the better we don't slip off the rails and violate something that gives us, the city.
It's like the fire station. They can go out and collect money through their association with the boot and all that stuff, but they can't do it as a city entity, raise the money, right? We're kind of like the same thing. Now, if you really want to help us out, help us sell some tickets for New Year's Eve, because that's a big one. That's a big one we try to raise money on. So that's our next one we got
Randy
coming up.
Hansen is a good get.
What's that?
Randy Hansen's a good get.
Oh, yeah, we got it. It's gonna be quite a concert that night. And quite a party, actually.
Advertise up in like Seattle or have any of those stations advertise for you?
Yeah, but they don't do it for free.
No, but how, you have?
You if you write email to the afternoon shows.
In the past, we've used Alpha Media to do that for us. And this year, we didn't get, there was no LTAC money this year, so we're flying on a wing this year. But we're kind of going out on a limb, and hopefully we can make a couple bucks off this year, but.
Yeah. Anything else?
I have a question.
Yeah.
How much did it cost to get the construction permit for the new tower?
I don't know,
That's
that's
a
a Marty
Marty
question.
Marty, you gotta unmute yourself. How much was it to get that construction permit?
Okay.
Okay, so the construction permit, there's no filing fee with the FCC for non-commercial stations. That's why I mentioned there's very low impact if the thing never gets built out. For either construction permits or license applications, all that stuff is no cost to the for the FCC filing part. The engineering costs, I believe, were right about $1,000. Hatfield and Dawson Consulting Engineers out of Seattle do our applications. I could theoretically do them, and I've done them in the past for others, but I just like to keep a distance in this case. So, like I say, it's about $1,000 for the application for the construction permit, and then if we actually build the station, it'll probably be like $800 for the application to notify the commission that all of the requirements of the construction permit have been met and ready for licensing. So that's the exposure in rough numbers.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anything else?
Sure.
All right, next up, public communication again, 3 minutes each. Anybody in the room like to have something? Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask, Earl, are you putting on are you teaching a class at the high school on television, radio, transmission and technology?
No, not a class. It's just a citizen advisory board. So we just advise the high school on which way to go and trying to get kids to, it's more of a hands-on trades that the high school offers.
It's like a trade fair.
Yeah,
So what, you be recruiting people?
we put some posters up and we've talked to the teachers about, hey, here's an opportunity to get some
You're
paid
not teaching
teachers.
them.
Not teaching, nothing, no. Not a formal teaching thing at the school. They've asked me to come in before to give a talk, and I did one time.
Well, I was just suggesting because years ago, when the internet was new, somebody from the Staples store used to come and teach a class open to the public on the internet at the high school. I was wondering if that was what you were thinking of.
No.
Anybody else in the room? Online, Gina, you got a comment?
Big G, you're muted.
Nice, you know, give her a second. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. She's good. Don, do you have a comment?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay, I just want to say I really appreciate hearing Marty's FCC updates. They're really important, and I really appreciate hearing them, even though they're not directly related to the station. The technology is interesting. And also, you mentioned that somebody was doing some fooling around with the website. I wonder if that affects the archives on Sound, I think it's called SoundCloud. I don't know what it's called, SoundCloud, I believe.
Yeah.
I use that all the time. I mean, that's a lifeline for me. And I really appreciate the DJs putting the recordings on that site as soon as within a few hours of them finishing their show. And I access that site a lot of times and be able to listen to things. So I really, really appreciate the SoundCloud site. Now,
Yeah, well, that's not going away, Don. That'll stay there. We may be doing some limitations as far as those sites that never really get visited and they're on there like 3 years ago. We might limit the time they're on the site, but the site's not going away.
okay, great. Anyhow, it's very valuable, and I really appreciate it. I have an iPhone and an iPad, and the iPhone is essentially useless for the KOSW listening, and I have some problems with the iPad. It works pretty good, but sometimes I have a lot of trouble getting the station to hear it live. The little arrow that goes on live on my iPad, it doesn't always show up, and I play with it, and I've been able to see it. But on my laptop here, it works just fine. Both the sites, the main site and the archive. Now on the radio contract, actually the tower contract, I'm surprised that every member of that board doesn't have a copy of it. I have a copy of it, and be happy to send it to you. I read it a while ago. I'm not an attorney, but I'll tell you a couple of things. It's as I recall the contract, it started out on, I think, on June 1st, 2023, and the contract price was $3,333 per month. It's got a 5-year term with 3 automatically renewable 5-year terms, unless the one party terminates notifications of termination 180 days before the deadline of the renewal. Otherwise, it automatically renews for 3 additional terms. And it's got a 4% annual escalator, which means right now you're paying $3,600 a month because it's gone through 2 escalator periods. So it's an expensive thing. And Scott Anderson signed it, that contract, and also an addendum which took place later on that year. But it's a pretty tight contract. I hope you can do something with it. And if anybody wants a copy of the contract or the addendum, I'll be happy to send it to you. But I read it, and it's pretty tight, but that requires someone that has a more legal experience than I do. And those are my comments.
We had to exit early. Thanks, Don. Appreciate it. I have a copy, just not on with me. That's it for public communication. Next up is the future meeting date. Will be next month, Tuesday, October 28th, right back here in the library. And so can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.